I guess the last time anybody was in the office, which wasn't this one, was sometime before the Friends and Total Strangers CD and DVD came out. So that was that 2009?
It's the tail end of 2009. Yeah, we spoke in your former office.
My little cubby hole.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was just before Christmas, I think.
It was. Yeah, it came out in late 2009.
So that came out. Mm-hmm. And then we lost track of you.
Right.
Where'd you go?
Well, we started working. We actually did a single called Highway of Heroes.
Right.
And we put that out, and that sort of generated some I don't know, busyness and some work, and there was some stuff doing, promoting that. And we did some shows and a lot of different stuff. And then we got to work. Like, we sort of retreated to Bath, Ontario, to the Hip studio, just outside of Bath, and we started working on new material. And we went in there without a plan or anything, just to demo and write and spend some sort of quality time as a band and see what sort of record was in us to make.
Was that kind of scary going in without a plan?
I think it was about time. I think our last record was so like methodical, I guess. In our approach was very strict, and everything was done to the last note before we even got into a studio. Everything was pre-produced and all that kind of stuff. And this I think we were just backlashing against that a little bit when we went into the studio for Hope and Ruin.
Mm-hmm. So this is the difficult third album. Fourth album.
Yeah,
okay.
difficult one too. They're all difficult.
They're all difficult.
Well,
yeah.
This one, I've had to listen to the whole thing, and it sounds different to me somehow. There's a looseness.
Yeah.
The production is really good.
Yeah.
And the instrumentation is a little bit different, I think.
Yeah, there's a different approach. I mean, definitely right in the looseness of our approach, and sort of hanging out and jamming at Bath inspires that sort of looseness. I mean,
let's talk about that place,
sure.
okay? So it's the Hips place outside of Kingston.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of? I've never been there. What's it like?
It's like a big kind of country home with beds upstairs, and downstairs is the live room and the studio and a kitchen. So it's like you just sort of live and breathe music out there. And you wake up around noon, have some breakfast and have some coffee, and you get sit around the living room area with your acoustic guitars and hash out ideas. Like, every guy was bringing in like a little idea, and I really like that, and I have this, and let's put these together. And then by 6 we'd have a song ready, and then we'd break for supper between 6 and 7, and then we'd start recording and record all night until about 3 or 4 in the morning, fall asleep and do the whole thing again the next day. It was a really kind of a cool environment to be making music.
Well, it's nice when you're not on any kind of a clock either.
Yeah, and there's no one. You don't have to be home by midnight. Like, you can make noise until the wee hours, and it was a really cool experience, and I think it brought out the best in our band.
So it was Gord Sinclair that suggested that you guys go there in the first place.
Yeah, initially it was just going to be a kind of demo situation. He called us up in January and said, if you guys want to come out and demo and just jam and hang out and drink some beers and whatever, come on out. And we went out there for 5 days and did 5 songs, and we really liked the way it sounded. We didn't think it sounded like demos. We thought it sounded like an album. So we booked some more time, and then some more time after that, and then by June we had all the tracks at least recorded. We started to mix them.
Were there 13 tracks, 12 tracks?
12 tracks.
12 tracks. We did 15 and put 12 on the record.
So the first, it's called Hope and Ruin.
Mm-hmm.
First single is Hope and Ruin.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that we can know about that song?
It was one that you brought in.
Yeah, it was just it was again like we were sort of, in the whole spirit of backlashing against. We've always sort of backlashed against whatever we just did, and there's a lot of topical music on No Time for Later, and then Highway Heroes is extremely topical, and I think maybe we were feeling to get away a little bit from that and sort of find lyrics that just sort of felt good against the music, and it was all very vibe based, like we'd jam for hours and hours sometimes on one musical piece, and then Gord was a great set of ears to have in the studio, because he was sort of letting us know when it was getting hot or when it was getting cold or all that kind of stuff. So I think having you in the live room just sort of spitting out lyrics and finding nice, comfortable, like words that suited the vibe of the song without being too like topical about it. I mean, I don't think Hope and Ruin's about any one specific thing. I think it's more about a feeling, the way the whole thing feels together.
One of the songs I like very much on the record is the grinding keyboards of People of the Deer.
Yeah.
When the song comes on, it's like Deep Purple?
Yeah. That was
Funny thing is, that's not even, that's a guitar through a
No,
Leslie.
is really?
Yeah, it's not even a keyboard. Which I'm pretty happy to. I think we fooled everybody. Everybody I've ever spoken to thinks it's a big Hammond and through a Leslie.
Well, it does.
It's
It sounds like John Lord playing Highway Star.
It's him playing a telly through a Leslie. So.
Leslie, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that was one of those songs where we had all the music done for it, and there was a Farley Mowat book on the shelf called People of the Deer.
Oh, there's a surprise. A Farley Mowat book and a tragically good country home.
So we did the most Canadian thing possible, and we said we should call this song People of the Deer. And I think it's kind of neat. It's kind of an eccentric title for a heavy kind of 70s rocker. That was, yeah.
The if you want to start again, it has to be a single at some point.
Yeah,
I mean, there's just no way that you can get away with not releasing that as a single.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah,
that's the magic of Bath, though. That's I was sitting at the piano at midnight. We were working on another song. They have this beautiful grand piano out there, and I'm a wannabe piano player, and I was just playing this little riff, which is the riff of the song, and my drummer Sean came in and I got a melody for that, and he just sang. Our drummer actually sang that entire melody line.
The woohoo parts?
Everything up to the woohoos.
Okay.
And it sounded like he wasn't saying, he doesn't write lyrics, but it just sounded like he was saying, if you want to start again. So we're just like, oh, this sounds like a song. So, and Gord Sinclair immediately was like, oh, you got to record that. And being out in the studio, all we did was record 5 minutes of us jamming on this little idea. And then the next afternoon, we were trying to find another song to work on. Like, oh, let's play back the tape from last night. And had we not taped it, we wouldn't have caught that song. So, we worked on it, and then by that next night, we had a song. That song was done. It was as it is.
Let me just get one last thing in about the production. I mean, the room sounds really good, obviously. The studio itself has got all kinds of gear in it. And Gord co-produced?
Co-produced with John-Angus. That's kind of what it says on the album.
Yeah.
And, it was kind of his... he's produced a few albums before that.
He's done stuff with the Spades, and I think he's always been really instrumental in the hip records. I mean, you ask him any question about any of those records, and he knows the answer. So I think he's always paid attention to that aspect of things, you know. He's a really talented guy. He's really laid back. You know, he's a great collaborator. Yeah, everybody's opinion is valid, and he wants to hear from everybody and see how they feel about the tune. And for me, I'm the same guy in our band as Gord is in his band. I love that side of things. I was the guy from pre-production to the last final mix and mastering next to every producer we ever worked with, because I just love that side of things, you know. So naturally, I just fell into it a little more than the other guys. But we were all collaborating on all fronts on this record.
It's kind of cool working with the guy who owns the studio, because he knows every quirk about the place.
Yeah, and we love the records that they made there. You know, like Trouble at the Hen House and Phantom Power Music at Work. Like, those are our favorite hip records. And being in that environment, you hear, it fosters that kind of warm, vibey feel. You know, I think we were interested in sort of capturing a bit of that.
So when is Hope and Ruin out?
April 12th.
So 10 days.
10 days.
Yeah, it's counting down.
Yeah. And then what? The machine starts.
We're just gonna chill. We're just gonna go to the beach for 2 years and just relax.
We're just gonna let album sales. We're gonna
live off album sales. We're gonna live off digital downloads.
Which means we'll be working at 7-Eleven. We plan on, we're gonna do like a fans only kind of tour. Basically, how we set it up is if you buy the album through our website, you get a ticket to an exclusive show in Halifax, Fredericton, Edmonton, Calgary, Toronto, and Vancouver. And we're gonna go out and play like in Toronto. We're just doing like small rooms. We're doing like the Rivoli in Toronto. We're going to do the Roxy out in Vancouver. And people that buy the album get to go to that show. And if you don't buy the album, you don't get to go to the show.
Screw you.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's proper touring.
It'll be
and then proper touring. Yeah, we're doing we're going to do a great couple of festival shows. I think there's going to be one in Bob Cajun this summer with
I heard about that one, yeah.
With The Hip and Sam Roberts and us and someone named Miss Emily. And that sounds like it's going to be the Canadian extravaganza of the summer. It's going to be fun.
Well, this record, I think, is leaps and bounds ahead of the last one.
Oh, thanks, man.
It really does sound good.
Cool.
And listening to it, there's 4 singles there for sure.
Oh, thanks a lot.
For sure. So I wish you guys all the best of luck. And we'll catch
up
up with you a couple of times, I'm sure, over the course of the next 2 years as this cycle continues.
Exactly.
All right, man.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Alan.
Thanks, Alan.
Cheers.
Explore Music wears English Laundry apparel.